The Anti-Defamation League published their annual report on anti-Semitism, and catch this, over 9,000 anti-Semitic incidents across the United States in 2024. Over 9,000. To be exact, 9,354. That's the highest number on record since the ADL began tracking anti-Semitic incidents 46 years ago. And most chilling, catch this, their report found an 893% increase over the last 10 years, nearly a 900% increase. That's just unbelievable. So given what we've been watching so far just this year, I wonder how 2025 is going to look in the end. Well, joining me now to discuss this and to share about his personal, most recent firsthand experience is Rabbi Yaakov Menken. He is the founder he's the founding and current managing director of the Coalition for Jewish Values. This is an organization that represents over 2,500 traditional Orthodox rabbis in American public policy. Rabbi Menken, welcome back to Washington Watch. Always great to have you, my friend.
And always glad to be with you. Thank you.
Let's begin with what happened to you, what you experienced firsthand at California State University in Sacramento this week. Tell us what happened.
Well, I was invited out there by Turning Point USA to talk about anti-Semitism. And to be honest, we went right at it. The title mentioned Hamas SJP, which is the Students for Justice in Palestine campus organization, and the rise of anti-Semitism globally. So they kind of knew it was coming. But of course, not only did they come out to protest, but many of the attendees were there, not to question, not to learn, but to shout challenges. Even after I had walked through the biblical origins of how we know what anti-Semitism looked like, they still wanted to come back at me with all their ridiculous stories about Palestinians and innocent Palestinians and Israel committing genocide as if it never happened. In fact, I asked them, who's the genocidal actor between Hamas and Israel? And without question, the fellows who invaded, they answered Israel. Eventually, they were frustrated enough. They'd had too much truth delivered to them because I was answering all their challenges and all their questions, and they stormed out of the room. And of course, the Turning Point folks were delighted.
Wow. Unbelievable. And it's unbelievable to me that this is happening all over the country. I mean, we have this, the Anti-Defamation League, the new report showing unbelievable heightened anti-Semitism across the country. I'm sure you would agree from your own personal experience with what you've seen, what you've witnessed, what you hear about on a regular basis. What do you think of this report?
Sure. I mean, we're following the community, so we know, we have our ear to the ground, and we knew this was true. ADL. Let's understand this. There's kind of two components to the ADL. The ADL, when they do statistics on things like anti-Semitic attacks, they're great reports. They have accurate data. When it comes to fighting anti-Semitism, unfortunately, the organization is very politicized right now. And what you hear from them is not really what you need to be hearing to fight the anti-Semitism. And by the way, I regard that as part of the problem, that there are certain figures on the Jewish left who can't honestly and in an impartial way look at anti-Semitism in America, and they politicize it as a result. But as far as the stats, absolutely, they're at a huge rise. And as far as what I think is going to happen this year, I think we're already seeing some positive signs. Columbia was supposed to have a new encampment this week, but Columbia put out a bulletin to students in advance saying there's going to be consequences. You're going to experience academic consequences, and you may be arrested. And the entire thing was a dud. It stopped. That encampment, which would have blocked students from getting to class, would have yelled at Jewish students as they went by and made for an intimidating environment, it didn't happen. And the reason why it didn't happen is Donald Trump being president of the United States.
Absolutely. In fact, I was gonna say that, and I agree. I'm so glad you brought that up. That we are seeing a change in the anti-Semitism right now because of President Trump and what he's doing. So we've got less than 2 minutes. Real quickly, Harvard, he went after Harvard. Harvard now is suing him. Give me your thoughts on what's happening there.
Well, look, this is pathetic. The university, their former president testified in front of Congress that whether calling for genocide against Jewish students violates their university policies depends on context. Basic fairness depends on context where Jews are concerned. That's the university's position. Absolutely, it is unconscionable to be giving federal money to a university doing scientific research, very valuable scientific research, but research from which Jewish students are being excluded. It's a matter of racist bigotry that we should not tolerate today any more than we tolerated in the 1970s. It's time for total fairness, and that means not allowing bigots to march the campus.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Yaakov Menken. Always, always great to see you, my friend, and have you on Washington Watch. We appreciate it. God bless.
Great to be back. Thank you for this opportunity.